I'm Reginald Gickington, and you can call me Reggie, and today I'll be continuing a painting journey through the miniatures of Senjutsu by Stone Sword Games. Today we're doing the first character I ever played as, the Onna-Bugeisha. This character is inspired by the real-life traditions of samurai's wives being trained with a naginata or other similar polearms. She has a fun mechanic in-game, where once she becomes injured her attacks are more powerful, but of course being injured means she's closer to dying. That's enough about her game mechanics. Let's get started painting. First up, we're going to be doing the base coats for her clothes. Now, my original idea for this character was a very vibrant white, bright blue, and cherry red color scheme. However, I ultimately abandoned this idea after seeing it close to completion. If you want to copy the version from the thumbnail, simply swap out the Altdorf blue for Sotek green. Also, you'll notice that she has no face. This is an intentional modification I made using green stuff, meant to resemble the Nobushi mask from the game For Honor, who was the original inspiration behind this color scheme. We're doing blue all over her robes, except for the underrobes visible between her legs. Her armor, head, hair, mask, and the underrobes are going to be done in ghost gray instead. For her weapons, we're using charred brown on the wood and Surcoat silver on the metal parts, including the blade and the metal bandings. For the skin, we're doing Bugman's Glow, and at this point we're doing the trim of her robes in the flower crest in corn red. Again, for the thumbnail version, trade out corn red for electric blue. We're washing the miniature now. For this, we're going to use an extremely thinned down Leviathan purple contrast all over the blue parts, a black wash on the silver parts and the hair, and a flesh wash on the skin. For the blue robes, we're going to build up the blue tone with layers of Macragge blue and then Altdorf blue glazed over the fabric. Glazing is a lot like the highlighting we usually do, only it involves a much thinner paint to get a more natural transition. While glazing, we want to focus on making the areas closest to the light source, theoretically the sun, the brightest, so that Altdorf blue is going to be concentrated on the top of the forward leg and the tops of the sleeves. For the hair, we're going to use black Templar contrast all over to darken it down to black. We're going to brighten up the red, highlighting it with Mephiston red, and then going back and adding an even brighter highlight of Evil Sun's scarlet. It's at this point that I decided the color scheme wasn't working for me as well as I'd hoped, and so I changed tracks entirely. If you like the deep blue and red look, you can skip to later in the video when I do some of the touch-up details, like edge highlighting the armor, highlighting her skin, detailing her mask, and painting the base, at which point she'll be done. If not, and you're still following along, I'm now repainting all of the blue robes using Sotek green. With the robes a lighter teal color, I'm going to redo the red parts using Averland Sunset on the flower and the headband, and Electric Blue on the trim. I initially paint the trim yellow as well, but I felt like it looked a little too garish, and I think it looks better as an accent used sparingly. Speaking of used sparingly, we're going to use gold yellow to add a further highlight to the Averland Sunset parts. We're highlighting the skin with Bugman's Glow and a glaze of Cadian Flesh Tone as needed. It's important to lightly skim her fingers and toes when doing Cadian Flesh Tone, to really separate them from each other, and give the appearance that she doesn't just have a beige claw, but rather 5 individual digits. I'm going to brown wash the robes and armor now, using a 1-to-3 mix of black wash and flesh wash. If you have your own brown wash you prefer, you may use that instead. I've always found brown wash to be a beautiful color to wash teal with, for some strange reason, and it's my go-to whenever I paint Necrons in the Nihilakt color scheme. We're now going to detail the mask and armor. We're edge highlighting the armor in dead white, and then for the mask we're going to draw a very thin set of eyes and a mouth using Doom Death Black. Thin paint is a key here, as well as possibly going back once the black is dried to touch up its shape using Ghost Gray if necessary. The next step is going to be highlighting the robes using Sotek Green, following the same logic we did during our glazing steps, prioritizing those upwards facing surfaces. I also, at this point, use Emperor's Children Pink to draw on a dot on each cheek of her mask under her eyes. The last step is going to be Mechanicus Standard Gray on the base, followed by a black wash, then a dry brush of the same gray. Lastly, her directional arrow will be done in Corn Red. And that finishes out the Onna-Bugeisha. She evolved a lot through the painting process, with me originally trying to copy the Fujiwara colors, before pivoting to something inspired more so by the exotic color palette from the same game, one of my favorite colors. It can be difficult to come up with your own color schemes, but that shouldn't discourage you from trying, as no treasure comes without trial. I think the teal, white, and yellow color scheme is a very striking one, and I'm pleased with the results. My only regret is the amount of work I did on the deep blue purple robes, only for them to get covered up. In any case, have fun painting your Senjutsu miniatures, and feel free to tag me on Instagram, @ReggieGick, to show me how yours turn out. Links to my affiliated socials can be found in the description. Feel free to subscribe or like the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon with another painting tutorial.